Hello, welcome to Conscious Female Brands. I'm Natalie Saunderson, and I am one of the co-founders of this entire collaboration around helping women move themselves forward in what they want to do and what they envision for their lives. And usually that's working with their business ideas, their concepts around what type of work they're here to bring forth. And today's topic is actually one that I'm experiencing personally and that I've heard a lot of women echo and mirror around me these days. And that is the topic of accepting that there is always someone that is going to think you are too much, right? So I call this owning the too much part of yourself, owning the too much woman in you. And this is really important that we take a look at where this comes from in order to release taking it on in a personal sense. Because every woman who's ever decided to step outside of what has been acceptable for her to do at that point in time throughout history has been labeled or thought of as too much. And my point here is that depending on your crowd, depending on your audience, depending on who you're asking, everyone's perception of you is going to be different. And as a woman in business, which means that you likely stand to share something, you have an offer, you have a service that you're going to be discussing, there's always someone who is going to either need to criticize it, not see the validity in it, want to argue about it, thinks certain, preconceived ideas about who you might be. And there's a reason that that is there. And the reason that that exists is because when we show up in any setting, we're either going to be welcomely received by those who are similar to us and are sharing a similar vision or a similar frequency or level of understanding. And then we're also going to be showing up around people who might not be there yet, but who want to be there, or who have triggers around some part of you that represents something that actually is very much about that person. And so when someone says you're too much of something, it just means you're too much something to that person. It doesn't actually mean that that quality that you embody isn't the perfect amount for you. It might actually be such a perfect amount that that too much quality, whether that's too vocal or too bold and kind of funny, whatever that quality is that somebody's saying you're too much, that might be something that someone else really loves about you and really looks up to you for having. Because everything that we perceive around us is actually part of us understanding ourselves better. So what might be too much for one woman is actually for another woman possibly something they really respect you for and revere you for showing up and just being yourself. And I wanted to also address that in business, we have a pretty narrow window around how we like women, how women have been taught that they can succeed, right? And I'm talking more in a professional kind of corporate manner, because once you step away from that old belief system and narrative, you get to decide what type of business person, owner, woman am I desiring to be. Do I want to be really ambitious and show up all the time and have my face on everything? Do I want to make it about a team and just like be in the behind the scenes and running it? Do I want to make it about empowering what I've been through and sharing my story and really getting more personal with my audience? And in every single scenario, you have the right to decide exactly what that looks like. And again, you're going to hit in each step of evolution that you go through as a woman, you're going to hit the people that are celebrating you because they also value and see what it is you're going through to offer more to your audience. And then you're going to also hit the other side of that coin, which is people who struggle to embrace that side of themselves, or people who feel threatened by you stepping into more of your full expression. And I won't use the word power here because we all actually share an equal amount of ability to tap into our internal power. What we don't all share is the courage to step into it. And because of this, women in particular end up triggering quite a lot of people when they do release some of the conditioning that we as women have been passed down through the generations after generation and generation. And a lot of that conditioning can look like, not asking for too much, right? Being accommodating. It can look like making yourself available to support other people. So we're often in these roles of like second in command, whether that's, even as a mother, or we're often in roles where we're nurturers or helpers. I myself as a teacher, so I'm often in that role of supporting people emotionally, intellectually, physically. And that's a role that I love, but that's not all that I am. Just like all of us, we're more than one thing. But these are things that we've been taught are acceptable qualities to have as women. We've not been taught to be ambitious. We haven't been encouraged to be quote unquote intellectual, right? We're taught to use our emotional gifts so we can assist and work with others well. But our intellect can sometimes be a little confronting for certain people because we haven't been using that side of ourselves for very long in society. And it can be quite intimidating for people when they aren't used to that. And none of this at the end of the day, if you are carrying anything in the way that you show up professionally, is really about you as a person. And that's the most important thing that I hope you take with yourself on this journey of evolving into a bigger version of you and how you show up with your work. Nothing that anybody says to you is intrinsically personal. It's usually just a reflection of where that person is at. And so I invite you to explore the edges of this. Where are you when you think about leadership, when you think about running something, when you think about using the side of you that is directive, which has been associated with a more masculine approach? When you think about that side of you, is there anything that you resist or have been told by others that lingers in your system or in your beliefs about yourself? Am I too loud, or I'm too truthful, or I'm too, just too expressive, too much, you're a little bit too over the top. Anything like this, if you've ever been told this, then I think that you can relate to the fact that it can be quite detrimental if you let that belief linger, if you take on that belief that I am too much of something. Because we have to remember that that too much gift you've been given is actually likely going to be serving a different person at some stage of their own growth and evolution. I hope that's offered you something to chew on and to assist you in really embracing the very unique qualities that you've been given. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do, and I will see you in the next video.